What if the most overlooked quarter in your pocket has been quietly traveling across America for more than 3 decades, and you've never noticed it? Every single day, millions of Americans receive quarters as change. Most people don't even look at the date. The coin goes into a pocket, a wallet, a cup holder, or straight into a vending machine. Its journey continues without anyone asking a simple question: where has this coin been? Today, we're following the story of one coin, the 1991 Washington quarter. Not because every 1991 quarter is rare, but because every coin carries a history that no one can completely trace. Imagine it's the spring of 1991. Freshly minted Washington quarters are leaving the United States Mint by the thousands. Each one begins a completely different journey. One enters circulation in New York, another in Texas, another in California. Some remain in the same town for years. Others cross the country again and again. No two journeys are ever the same. Now imagine one of those coins surviving until today. More than 30 years later, it ends up in your hand. You almost spend it without looking. Then something tells you to stop. You check the date. 91. It looks ordinary. The familiar portrait of George Washington, the classic reverse design. Nothing seems unusual, but experienced collectors have learned something important. The greatest discoveries often begin with ordinary-looking coins. You place the quarter under a bright desk lamp. Slowly rotate it. Light flows across the surface. Washington's portrait comes alive. The lettering appears crisp. The rim remains sharp. Suddenly, the coin feels different, not because you've proven it's unusual, but because you've taken the time to truly see it. Now imagine opening an old family coin jar that hasn't been touched in 20 years. Hundreds of coins spill onto the table: pennies, nickels, dimes, then dozens of Washington quarters. You begin sorting them by date. 1984, 1979, 2001, 1996, then 1991. You pick it up, compare it with another quarter, then another. Immediately you notice that no two coins are exactly alike. Some are heavily worn, others still shine. Some have strong details. Others show years of circulation. Every difference tells another chapter of the coin's journey. That's why experienced collectors never rush. They compare, they observe, they ask questions, because every answer leads to another mystery. Inside the United States Mint, every quarter started as a plain metal blank. Powerful presses struck the design with tremendous force. Fresh dies created crisp details. As production continued, those dies gradually wore down. Tiny changes appeared over time. Most people never notice them. Collectors do. They study the coin carefully. They examine the lettering, the strike, the surfaces, the overall eye appeal. Not because every coin is extraordinary, but because careful observation is what turns an ordinary search into an exciting hobby. Imagine receiving change after buying a coffee. 3 quarters land in your hand. Without thinking, you almost put them into your pocket. Then you remember today's story. You check the dates. One reads 91, and suddenly, an ordinary moment becomes the beginning of a new adventure, because somewhere in an old coin album, a forgotten bankroll, or perhaps already sitting inside your own wallet, another fascinating 1991 Washington quarter is waiting for someone curious enough to notice it. Another fascinating 1991 Washington quarter is waiting, hidden in plain sight. And the strange part is, it may have already passed through your hands more than once. Think about how many quarters you receive in a single year. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Most are spent within minutes. Almost nobody stops to ask where they came from. Collectors do. because every coin begins its life in exactly the same way. But no two coins live the same story. Picture the United States Mint. In 1991, the sound of powerful coining presses echoes through the building. Blank metal planchets move down the production line. Within a fraction of a second, a massive steel die strikes the metal with incredible pressure. Another Washington quarter is born. Bright, untouched, perfectly new. No scratches, no fingerprints, no signs of wear, only fresh mint luster reflecting under the factory lights. Then the journey begins. The coin leaves the mint inside heavy canvas bags. It travels to Federal Reserve banks, from there to local banks, then to grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, and shopping malls across America. By the end of its first week, it may have already changed hands dozens of times. Now fast forward more than 30 years. That same quarter could be sitting quietly inside a forgotten coin jar, or resting in your own pocket without you even realizing it. Imagine searching through a roll of quarters on a rainy afternoon. You aren't expecting anything unusual. You're simply enjoying the hunt, one by one. The dates appear. 2004, 1998, 1987, 1978, then 1991. You don't celebrate. Not yet. Instead, you slow down. You hold the coin by its edges, tilt it beneath a bright LED light. Immediately, the surface begins revealing details. Fine lines of mint luster, sharp lettering, a clean rim, the familiar portrait of George Washington standing out with surprising clarity. This is exactly what experienced collectors do. They don't search with excitement alone. They search with patience, because patience reveals details. Excitement often misses. Many collectors keep a small magnifying loupe beside their desk. Through that lens, an ordinary quarter becomes an entirely different world. Tiny die polishing lines, minute die cracks, small die chips, subtle strike characteristics, details invisible to the naked eye suddenly become clear. These aren't mistakes made after the coin entered circulation. They're part of the coin's birth. Permanent clues left behind during the minting process. Everyone tells another chapter of its story. Collectors often compare several 1991 quarters, side by side. At first, they seem identical. But after a few minutes, the differences become obvious. One coin still carries beautiful original luster. Another has stronger strike details. A third shows decades of honest circulation. The more you compare, the more your eyes begin noticing things that once seemed impossible to see. That's the moment coin collecting truly becomes addictive. Not because every coin is rare, but because every search teaches you something new. And one ordinary afternoon, while everyone else is spending their pocket change without looking, you might be holding a piece of American history that deserves a second glance. Because sometimes the greatest discovery isn't finding something valuable. It's discovering how much history can be hidden inside something as ordinary as a single 1991 Washington quarter. Sometimes the greatest discovery isn't finding something valuable. It's realizing that an ordinary coin can carry an extraordinary journey. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a single 1991 Washington quarter leaving the mint on the day it was struck. It shines with brilliant mint luster. Every detail is sharp. Every edge is perfect. No scratches. No fingerprints. No signs of wear. Now imagine what happens over the next 30 years. That one quarter passes through thousands of hands. It buys a newspaper. It pays for a subway ride. It sits in a child's piggy bank. It disappears into a vending machine. It travels from one state to another without anyone noticing. The coin never speaks, yet every mark on its surface quietly records another chapter of its life. Now, imagine you're visiting a weekend estate sale. Inside an old house, a small wooden box sits on a table. Most people walk right past it. You stop. Inside are dozens of loose coins, collected over many years. Nothing is labeled. Nothing is organized. You begin sorting through them one by one. 1985, 1976, 1998, then 1991. You pick it up. At first, it looks like every other quarter, but you've learned something important. Never judge a coin with a quick glance. You move closer to a window where natural sunlight fills the room. As you slowly rotate the coin, the light begins moving across its surface like flowing waves. Washington's portrait appears bold. The lettering remains clear. The design still carries remarkable eye appeal, yeah. Compare it with another 1991 quarter from the same box. Immediately, differences appear. One coin spent years in heavy circulation, the other was protected for much of its life. Both coins were created in the same year. Both left the mint with identical designs. Yet, time gave each coin a completely different story. That's what fascinates collectors, not perfection, individuality. Every coin ages differently. Every coin develops its own character. Experienced collectors also understand that preserving a coin is just as important as finding one. That's why they avoid cleaning coins. A polished coin may look brighter for a moment, but the original mint surface can never truly be restored. Instead, collectors gently hold coins by the edges, store them in protective holders, and preserve them exactly as history left them. Originality matters because originality tells the truth. Imagine showing your collection to a friend. At first, they see only ordinary quarters. Then you begin explaining the details, the strike, the luster, the condition, the journey. Suddenly, they stop looking at the coin as pockets, change. They begin seeing it as a piece of American history. That single moment changes everything. It's often how new collectors begin, not because someone promised hidden riches, but because they discovered something far more rewarding: curiosity, knowledge. A deeper appreciation for the stories hidden inside everyday objects. The next time you receive change, don't rush. Take a closer look. That simple habit has introduced millions of people to the world of coin collecting, and perhaps the very next 1991 Washington quarter you find will be the coin that inspires your own collecting journey. Perhaps the very next 1991 Washington quarter you find will be the coin that changes the way you look at pocket change forever. Think about it. Right now, millions of Washington quarters are moving across America. Some are sitting in cash registers. Some are waiting inside bank vaults. Others are forgotten in kitchen drawers, old piggy banks, glove compartments, and family coin jars. Most of them will be spent today, without anyone checking the date, without anyone wondering where that coin has been. But collectors think differently. They understand that every coin deserves one more look. Imagine it's a quiet Saturday afternoon. You decide to stop by your local bank. You ask the teller for a few rolls of quarters. The rolls are sealed, untouched. You carry them home and place them on your desk. A bright lamp shines above the table. You carefully open the first roll. The coins slide across the surface with a familiar metallic sound, one by one. You check every date. 74, 1988, 2003, 1996. Nothing catches your eye. You open the second roll, then suddenly, there it is. 1991. You don't rush. You pick it up carefully by the edges. You tilt it under the light. The surface begins to glow. Washington's portrait looks strong. The lettering is clean. The rim remains sharp. You compare it with another 1991 quarter. Small differences begin to appear. One has more original luster, another shows heavier circulation. One has stronger eye appeal. Another tells a different story through its wear. That's when you realize something. Coin collecting isn't about chasing impossible dreams. It's about learning to observe, to compare, to appreciate craftsmanship and history that most people never notice. Every quarter represents a moment in American history. It has passed through restaurants, gas stations, baseball games, movie theaters, family vacations, holiday shopping, and countless everyday moments that were never written into history books. Yet the coin remembers them all in its own silent way. Collectors know that the greatest reward isn't always finding something extraordinary. Sometimes, the greatest reward is developing the ability to see what others overlook. A stronger strike, better preservation. Beautiful original surfaces, the quiet beauty of a coin that has survived decades while carrying its history with dignity. So the next time someone hands you a quarter, don't immediately spend it. Pause. Look at the date. Turn it beneath the light. Compare it with another coin. Ask yourself where it has been and where it might go next. That simple habit has inspired generations of collectors across America, not because every coin is rare, but because every coin has a story worth discovering. Thank you for joining us on Hidden Coin Digest as we explored the journey of the 1991 Washington Quarter. If you enjoy learning about American coins, minting history, collecting tips, and the hidden stories behind everyday pocket change, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Hidden Coin Digest, turn on the notification bell, and join thousands of collectors who never stop searching for history hidden in ordinary coins. Every new video uncovers another fascinating chapter from America's pocket change. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and leave a comment below. What's the oldest Washington quarter you've ever found, and do you still have it today? Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and never stop checking your pocket change. Because the next quarter you receive could become your favorite discovery. Not because of its price, but because of the story it carries. We'll see you in the next Hidden Coin Digest video.